Welcome back to the Premier League preview. It was a massive weekend last week. The Manchester derby was just a brilliant game. It to and fro, went back and forth. United took a 2-goal lead. City drew back level. Both sides played really well until Van Persie scored a brilliant, maybe deflected, but brilliant goal in the 92nd minute. I am still yet to come down. I have to apologise for the eyes. I haven't really slept a great deal, just been buzzing off that great Dutchman. He did get a bit feral towards the end though, when Rio Ferdinand was hit in the other... That hurts. Coins. Jeez, it even gets a bit feral in here every now and then. So a big derby out. And then City this week go to Newcastle. They take... on the Magpies, up at St James Park. It's going to be huge. They fell to pieces at the end last week, but they will try and fight back. Still trying to close. There's a 6-point gap at the top of the table. The fitness of Yaya Toure is just monumental to Man City doing well. Yaya Toure and Silva are in the top 3 combinations in the middle in the Premier League. Keeping him fit and on the pitch is so vital for that club. The manager Mancini is not doing a lot of favours to keep his job at the moment. There's a lot of talk about him losing the dressing room after the derby last weekend. Apparently levelled a lot of blame and criticism at Joe Hart, the goalkeeper, which, well, it's not going to help him because if City's owners are anything like Chelsea's, it'll be the manager that gets the chop a lot quicker than the players. Newcastle continue to struggle. They lost 2-1 down at Fulham last week. They're struggling to gain a lot of momentum this week. This game will be shown live at the Sherlock Holmes. It's at 11:45 on Saturday night. It will be rocking in here. So if you want to come and see some of the best football atmospheres in Melbourne, come and have a look. There's a lot of Geordies that are going to come down. I think Newcastle will get a draw. It'll be 1-1. So come and have a look at that. Then next up at 2 a.m. is Norwich versus Wigan. Norwich were... they had a massive 4-3 win over Swansea last week. Held off a late fight back in Wales. They were probably very happy to see someone other than Grant Holt score some goals this week, whereas Wigan were held by QPR. It was a draw. I'm going to say another draw here. Norwich, Wigan, 2-2. Then we have QPR versus Fulham. QPR have had the longest non-winless streak, if that makes sense, of any Premier League side since 1993 when it first began. Still winless. Harry Redknapp slowly getting them to play a bit better. Of course, drew last week, but they're going to need to play really well against a good Fulham side that was dominated last week by Dimitar Berbatov, who is playing superbly up front down at the Craven Cottage. I think Fulham will go across to the other side of London and they'll win 2-0. Then we have Stoke versus Everton. Stoke were held goalless last week at Villa. Everton were not really impressive. They did a lot better having Darren Gibson back, who Phil Jagielka dubbed the quarterback for the side. Brilliant in the middle for them. But weren't really that effective against Tottenham until the very last minute when they had a bit of a snatch and grab and scored 2 quick goals to take a win. Striker Jelavic was pretty ordinary for about 88 minutes until he needed just one touch, as usual, in the box, scored the winner. I think Everton will go to Stoke and they'll win 2-1. Then we have Chelsea hosting Southampton. Torres looks back in form. He could have had a hat-trick last week if not for the crossbar. Maybe Rafa Benitez is getting the best out of him. Hopefully we can see Torres back playing well. Southampton had a 1-0 win down over Reading, which was good for them. They've moved up to 15th on the table. Chelsea will be too good for them. That'll be 3-0. Next up is Manchester United versus Sunderland at Old Trafford. That's going to be an interesting encounter there. United have opened up a 6-point lead at the top of the table after that huge win against Man City last week. Rooney and Van Persie are playing very well up front together, and Carrick and Tom Cleverley played in the middle against City, and maybe they're starting to find a central combination that'll work for the Reds there. So 6 points at the top of the table. Patrice Evra came out in the press during the week and said Alex Ferguson, the manager, will sack every member of that squad if they squander this league. So they're a little bit terrified by the old Scotsman, who hasn't lost all of his fire just yet in his older years, but they should do what they need to do. They've got a lot of swagger up front, United. They've scored 40 goals this season, the most of any in the Premier League, and they're getting stronger in defence. Played a lot better against City. Weren't perfect, but a lot better. Johnny Evans and Ferdinand looking much better. Sunderland are in the relegation zone, not doing too well. Martin O'Neill hit back at some criticism by Alan Shearer during the week and said he is the right man for the job. Shearer, of course, doubting that. I think United will probably win 2-0. Then we have Spurs hosting Swansea. Spurs weren't terrible against Everton, but didn't really look effective enough to deserve a win. Probably didn't deserve to lose, but weren't great. They're missing Gareth Bale. He's a huge loss for them when he doesn't play. So much flair up front for them. Swansea fought very well to pull a few goals back versus Norwich, but couldn't get a fourth to tie it up. Dembele returned for Tottenham, big key player in the middle for them. Spurs are vying with Everton and West Brom for the fourth spot. They're only 3 points shy of Chelsea, and they need to get Bale fit, get him playing. Defoe's looking right up front still, and they are very sloppy at the back. They have the worst goals against record in the top 10. If they can tighten up at the back, get Bale fit, then we'll see what can happen. I think they'll beat Swansea, probably 2-1. So next up says West Brom versus West Ham. The Baggies were very unlucky to Arsenal, had two kind of dodgy penalties that went against them. West Ham, on the other hand, all over Liverpool until Momo Diame tore his hamstring running down the right flank, and that's going to put him down for a couple months. I think there'll be a goalless draw there, probably 0-0. And the last match of the weekend is 7 a.m. on Monday morning. That sees Reading hosting Arsenal. Arsenal, as we said, were very lucky to scrape past West Brom. Santi Cazorla got in a bit of hot water afterwards with a massive dive to win the first penalty for him. Although for Arsenal, Jack Wilshere is back and is a huge part in the middle for the Gunners. They'll probably win 1-0 there. So that's us previewed for another week. Come down on Saturday night, have a look, see Newcastle possibly beat... These coins are still going. This place is a bit feral. Be aware of it. They should be able to beat maybe City, or at least get a draw. We'll see what happens. Come down and have a look, and we'll catch you next week. So long.